just recording this for those who can make it. We're good? All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our McNair Center today on our March workshop. We are talking a little bit more about how you pitch to possible employers. What I love about the startup is that you actually get matched in the platform once you kind of put together this live resume. It doesn't have to be just written, but Samantha Hepler will talk a little bit more about that. She's the CEO and founder of SeekerPitch. She started here in Houston, and so she'll be just kind of going over the steps as to how you can engage in that profile in the SeekerPitch platform, and then how you can get connected with employers looking to hire you this summer. So who in here is ready to get hired? Well, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's just like a maybe.
Maybe this summer, yeah. I would love employment.
Yeah. Maybe, so let's go, while she's kind of putting things together, we can go around the round table and just tell me a little bit more about your degrees, your background, what you're looking for in an employer. So, should I start here?
Sure. Hi, I'm David. I'm majoring in accounting.
Hi, my name is Drake Lamb. I'm majoring in electrical engineering with our entrepreneurship minor. Sign up this registration period. I'm looking for full-time employment as an electrical engineer.
Hi, I'm Destiny. My major is going to be marketing as of right now. Hopefully going into Bella Green Corporation soon. So.
Hello, my name is Alejandra. I'm a psychology major, and I'm hoping to get a job, like something dealing with counseling, even if it's like camp counseling in the summer, something like that. So.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Talia. I'm a psych major as well, and I hope to get into marriage and family therapy once I get my master's.
Hi, my name is Esther, and I'm majoring in finance. And what I'm looking forward for my employer is to be patient and an environment where we can grow and develop new skills.
Hi, my name is Loida. My major is finance as well, and I'm looking for a job that is able to provide the knowledge for us to grow, and also encourage us to develop new skills as well and be patient with us.
Thank you so much for everyone that made it possible here. And so, Samantha, just make it casual. This is your show. Welcome to our HBU campus.
Thank you, Brenda.
It's all yours.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that. I'm gonna probably sit up here, if that's okay, or just so I can move this about a little bit. Can you hear me okay on the mic? Okay, wonderful. So, well, you guys are over here, but so I am founder and CEO of SeekerPitch, and I created this product as a way to give job seekers an opportunity to showcase who they are beyond the keywords in their resume. You are so much more than what GPA you had, what summer job you had, what maybe even quite frankly what your major is, right? And so wanted to give a way for job seekers to express themselves that way. And so the goal of today's conversation is we're going to understand the power of communicating what you want and ways to do that in order to create the future that you want. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. Before I jump in, I've given this presentation a few times. I gave this presentation for Rice MBA Group, and then also U of H Downtown, and then now HBU. So I appreciate you guys having me. I also really appreciate a collaborative conversation. So if you're like, wait, hold on, I don't know what you mean, or I have this idea, or what about this? Like, you can just have a combo. No big deal. But before I hop into this, I'm just going to show you what the heck a SeekerPitch profile looks like and tell you a little bit about where we're going with the product. This right here is just an opportunity to intro yourself. And you're like, okay, why are you showing pictures? Well, pictures are worth 1,000 words. If you looked at mine, you would see my baby. I'm a mom. You would see that I used my wedding money to start this company and I decided to elope instead. You would see I'm also a yoga teacher. You would start, and then whether or not you know it right now, as you're hearing this stuff about me, you're like kind of categorizing me in your head, you know? And so this just gives you an opportunity, especially as Gen Zers communicate more through visual and imagery. It gives us an opportunity to kind of express ourselves in that way. I'm a millennial, though. Sorry for that. Millennials do it too, though. That said, you can attach your resume, you have your links, a quote that resonates with you, accomplishments that you're most proud of, your about me, future impacts you want to make, just a quick summary of your work experience, tools and skills. This is shareable across any platform. So for Andrew, if you copied and pasted this link, he can put it on the featured section of his resume. When you're applying to other jobs, 99% of job applications have other websites listed, and you can kind of paste this in as your digital cover letter. It's also great to be used when you're cold emailing, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But if you're cold emailing and introducing yourself, like, hey, I'm Samantha. I'm really interested in XYZ position at your organization. I'd love an opportunity to talk to you about it. If you want to get to know me a little bit better, you can check out my pitch profile. Would you like to hop on a Zoom sometime next week? P.S. I've attached my resume for your consideration. So just a different outreach tool. Clear? Okay. All right. So back to what we're talking about today. The goal of what we're talking about is to understand the power of communicating what you want and ways to do that in order to create the future that you want. So step one is get clear on what it is you want. I know that's like, okay. And I just realized, I apologize, but I do need this open. I just want to make sure I don't lose any presentation notes, and they're all in here. So give me just half a second, I apologize. I want to make sure I tell you all the things that I thought about. Okay.
Well, like on that note, can you hear me?
Okay.
Perfect. Like on that note, like sometimes you know what you want and then you kind of start changing and shaping things. So we were just talking about this in the round table. It's like I started with wanting to be a fashion designer and then I changed into like an architect. And then I was like, no, maybe policy makes more sense for me because I kind of went into a trip and went to Washington, D.C. And then I'm like, oh, entrepreneurship. I started working in government,
Right.
and entrepreneurship was sort of like the industry that was kind of happening back in 2010. And here I am. Entrepreneurship it is for me.
Yeah.
So for you guys, like what is it that you want? And like Samantha, what would you suggest? Like how do you get clear on what you want?
Yeah, we're gonna cover all of that. So the reason why this is step one, and sounds crazy, but it's so you don't actively go in the direction of something that you don't want. If I told you guys that you're gonna meet me in Galveston, would you drive north? Would you drive towards Canada? Not like literally would not make any sense. But I bring up this analogy because there's often times where we're aimlessly driving or aimlessly doing something because it's what we think we should do without ever stopping to first ask ourselves what it is that we want. So I'm going to show you guys Andrew's video. And the question I'm going to ask him at the end of this video is, what do you think Andrew wants? Okay? Tell me if that's going to be too loud for you guys.
Hi, my name is Andrew Wilson. I'm a double major in finance and entrepreneurship with a minor in supply chain. I currently have experience working as a financial analyst, working in Excel and Power BI to automate different monthly and quarterly tasks. I'm also working towards getting my UiPath certificate as well as a certificate for SQL. I'm currently interested in the fintech industry, but truthfully I'll work for a company in any industry as long as profile, and I'm excited to meet you.
What do you think Andrew wants?
Job in finance with you, the financial, I think you said you into like a financial analyst, I believe.
Yeah, it's a great. That's the correct answer, right? I mean, that's the answer I was looking for. So, finance. You think based on what he's saying is finance. So I got to have an interesting conversation. I got to talk to Andrew. I got to have a one-on-one session with Andrew. And by the way, that's something I offer for everybody who's sitting in this room. If you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, Brenda, will be able to give you guys my calendar, and you can just hop on and we'll hop on a Zoom for 30 minutes. But I had the opportunity to do that with Andrew. And in doing that, and watching Andrew's video, this quote really resonated. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. And so what I mean by that is Andrew was looking at his past to qualify his future. Andrew has a degree in finance. And anybody else before him, the next step was to become a financial analyst, then to become, director of finance, then to become this, and then to do this, and then to do this. That's the clear path forward. And that's looking through his future at a lens that's been standardized. Does that resonate with you guys? Yeah. And so if you're trying to figure out what your future looks like through the lens of somebody else's path, it's inherently limiting. And so when I had the opportunity to talk to Andrew and peel back the onion on what he wanted to do, he said, a job in finance probably, because I really need to take care of my family. I said, well, wait a second. Andrew didn't want a job in finance. Andrew wanted to take care of his family. There's a difference there. He said, probably a job in finance because I want to be able to take care of my family. What he wanted was to take care of his family. And so the more we peel back the onion, turns out he loves to build things. He loves SQL. He loves automation and puzzles. And I said, Andrew, it sounds like you want to be a developer. Sounds like you like to build things. He's like, well, yeah, I really love that. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. I've been kind of dabbling in it on the side. I've got my GitHub. And I'm like, why don't you do that? And so we're going to pause there. We're going to do an exercise. I'm going to come back to Andrew's story in just a second. Can you please either get a Word doc out, but if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I'd prefer a piece of paper and a pen, but I don't know if people have that these days. I never have one. But if you have a piece of paper, we just need a blank piece of paper and a pen. Thank you so much. This is awesome. You guys have paper and pen. This is incredible. We have two people without paper. Can someone share a piece of paper with? Okay, great. And on this piece of paper, I want you to draw a big circle. Just going to get my timer out here. All right. And on the outside of the circle, you're going to have 90 seconds. I want you to go ahead and write all of the things that you don't want in your next job. Ready? And you can start writing. Like, so for me, it's, I don't want spreadsheets. I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to have a lot of bosses above me. I want one boss, if not to be my own boss. What else do you not want? I don't want to work with numbers. Some people do. So yours might be, I don't want to work in market research. I don't want manual labor. What do you not want in your next role? On the outside of the circle, you're writing what you don't want. Just individual words. And it could be crazy things like, I don't want there to be ego. I don't want there to be not a lot of clear direction. I don't want there to be a promotion path. I want to know where I'm going. What do you not want? 30 more seconds. And when you think you're stuck, keep writing. Okay, stop. Now, on the inside of the circle, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start. You're going to have another 90 seconds. No, that's okay. That's okay. You can just draw a different circle at the bottom and write all the stuff that you do want in a different circle. On the outside of the circle, you write what you don't want. And on the inside of the circle, you write what you do want. Right? It's fine. You could do it backwards. Or you could do half circle. There you go. That's perfect. Creative. I like that. So on the inside of the circle, I want you to write all the things that you do want. And before you do, I want you to change the lens. And I want your lens to be, if success was guaranteed, this is important, if success was guaranteed, what would you allow yourself to want? Forget your major, forget what your parents think you should do, forget what your career counselor told you. What do you want? Right? Do you want to be a pilot? Do you want to work in Europe? Do you want to work remote? Do you want to make sure they have Mac Mac laptops? Or do you want to work with PCs? What do you want to work? What do you want to work in fashion? Do you want to work in political science? Anything you want. If I told you tomorrow, no matter what choice you make, it's the right choice. You're going to be successful. What would you allow yourself to want? Ready, go. And if you can't think about what it is you want, think about what it is you like. I like to work with nice people. I like when people show up on time. You like to be able to wear jeans to work. I do. Right. You want a dog-friendly office? Do you want to work flexible hours? Do you want to work with spreadsheets? Do you want to work with numbers? Do you want to own your own practice? Do you want to build your own tools? What do you want? If success was guaranteed, what would you allow yourself to want? Ten more seconds. Write down one more thing. One more thing. Give me anything. One more thing. All right. There you go. So, Andrew's inside of the circle was he wanted to be a developer. Here's breaking down, getting clear on what you want. You have to get out of your own way. You have to drop, and you have to first you have to recognize any limiting, inherently limiting beliefs that you have about what you can do in your future. Right? Like, I've had so many of those. I could not tell you how many. I graduated with a degree in international affairs, with a minor in French, but I did not end up getting the minor in French by like 3 hours because I decided to pivot and go do real estate because that's what my dad did. You know? I mean, now I'm a tech entrepreneur. It's funny how things evolve. So get out of your own way, and you have to understand what it is you enjoy. You have to honor that by changing the lens and saying, I trust myself. And success is going to be guaranteed when you change that lens. So, step 2 in creating the future that you want. Validate what you want with your past experience. Validate, oh, thank you, what you want with your past experience. So, how you do that on SeekerPitch is we talk about the accomplishments. Now, this is the accomplishment section. So, in the video, when you got clear on what it is you want, by the way, I'm kind of jumping ahead of Andrew's story, but he decided he wanted to be a developer. He was like, I'm about to graduate with a degree in finance. I have an offer, and it was a great offer from a very big company that everyone here probably would know the name of. And he was like, this is guaranteed. And I was like, but it's not what you want. And he's like, okay, I want to be a developer. I was like, do you have time in your spring semester? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, great. Go knock on every door sitting at the cannon at a startup. Ask for an engineering internship. And he did that, and he got one. And now they've offered him a full-time position to start in May as a developer. So it's a happy ending to the story. But he's able to do that. So with the video, this is where you get clear on what it is you want. My video would look something like this if I were going to apply for a job. Hey, I'm Samantha. I have a background in building amazing products. I really enjoy working with great teams, and at my next job, I'm looking for an opportunity to continue to be a product leader and create disruptive products. 30 seconds. Just told you exactly what I wanted. You have to be able to say what it is you want. Say it with confidence. The next part is, where we are right here, is I'm clear on what I want, right? Telling that in the video. Now I'm going to validate what I want with my past experience. I did not come out of my mother's stomach wanting to build technical products. I did not do that. All of those wants that you drew inside the circle, you were not born with those wants. Those wants came about because of your past experience. We typically have it backwards. In the job industry, it's tell me what you've done, right? Submitting an old-fashioned resume. So tell me your resume, and I'll tell you if you're worthy of what it is that you want. I'm telling you to think about this a little differently. I'm encouraging you to validate what you want with your past experience. I'm going to give you another example. So there was this guy, and he and I met in one of those one-on-one sessions, and he said, you know, I want to be in sales. I was like, okay, great. You want to be in sales. Do you have any sales experience? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. Have you ever been a waiter? You know, have you ever sold anything? No. Okay. Have you ever convinced anybody to do anything before that they maybe didn't know how to do or want to do at the beginning? Well, yeah. I like to fish, and a lot of my friends, nobody would go with me. So I encouraged them all to give it a try. I taught them all literally how to fish, and now they go fishing with me every weekend. That is sales. That's a big accomplishment that he should be proud of. And there are ways on your resume to write that stuff in. And there's definitely a space on your pitch profile, right, on your accomplishment sections. So even if your accomplishment is, maybe you want to be a party planner. Have you ever been a professional party planner? No, but I planned my senior year dance, or I planned my little sister's birthday, or I am the consistent organizer of trips It's what I do. I curate amazing experiences. It's being able to validate what you want with your past experience. Does that resonate with you guys? Yeah. Okay. Your past experiences are the reasons that you want what it is you want. You know that meme where a guy's like, literally, your past experiences are the reason why it is you want what you want. So it's all about how you tell your story. And if you can own what it is you want, and then basically tell somebody why you're qualified to want that, they're going to believe you. And you have to believe you. Any questions or comments on that? Nope? Okay. Let's have a look at an example. Okay. I wish I had like a piece of paper, but we're going to start, try not to read on. This is presentation 101 material. You really should not have more on the page that you don't want people to read, but, or maybe I could do that. So I'll do that. This is an example of someone writing out their accomplishment. They want to be a product manager. For those of you who do not know what a product manager is, a product manager manages a technical product typically. So this is like, for example, SeekerPitch. I am the chief product officer of SeekerPitch. I designed the product. I was in charge of bringing it to life, taking it to market. I am the product person. This person would like to be a product manager, which is typically an entry-level position, and starting that career path. Okay? The accomplishment that he chose to write down was, I'm a student at the University of Houston Sivia and Melvin Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship, the #1 ranked undergraduate program in the United States by Princeton Review. That's impressive. But he wants to be a product manager. Does that validate what he wants with his past experience? Yes, no, maybe so? Yeah. And it would also be applicable if this guy was applying, if what he wanted was to go get his MBA. Right? In other words, like, if he's getting his MBA at Rice, for example, like Rice cares about where he went to school. Rice cares about which program was reviewed by Princeton Review. But probably not like a tech company. Like, okay, you've got good credentials. It's not validating his want. It's completely, you see that? Still tells me he's an impressive person, but it's not telling me the narrative of why he wants to be a product manager and why he's deserving of it, right? So then we rewrote it. Okay, well, I led a team to develop a commercialization report for a concrete monitoring Internet of Things technology. With this team, we created a business plan to be pitched at competitions around the country. Who has a headache from reading that? I was a little overwhelmed when I read that. I was like, what does that even mean? I know a lot of words in the startup, like land, commercialization report for a concrete monitoring. I was like, how are you using concrete here? Is that a verb or an adjective or a noun? I was like, I was so confused. Now this guy is extremely smart, by the way, but he was overcomplicating this. And again, I was like, what are you trying to say? Broke it down again. I led a team to develop a go-to-market strategy for an Internet of Things sensor that measures quality and provides insight on how to streamline the production process of concrete used in construction. We created a business plan to be pitched at competitions around the world. So he literally did exactly what a product manager is. He's never been a product manager, but that is exactly what a product manager does. They think about how to take a product to market to sell. That's innovative. Make sense? He's validating what he wants with his past experience. It's there for all of you. You just have to dig a little. At least I do sometimes. It's a lot easier to tell someone else's story sometimes than it is to tell your own. Questions, comments, feedback? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, very cool. Very cool. I do know this person. This person's can I say that on camera? A badass. He's awesome. He's a really cool guy. And I have his permission to share his accomplishments. Okay. Step 3. Inspire buy-in. Inspire buy-in. So, the format, right? What it is I want, a little bit about me, why it is I want it, right? Or why am I valid in wanting it? Here are the accomplishments and future impacts I want to make. Inspire buy-in. Okay. What do I mean inspire buy-in? Well, let's go back to the guy in sales. This makes me chuckle. Future impacts he wants to make. He wrote on there, he would like to be able to play golf. I was like, what? What do you mean you want to play golf? And he's like, I want to, like, in the future, I would like to be able to, like, play golf during the workday with clients. I was like, that's not very, I didn't tell him this, but I'm like, okay, we gotta reframe this. So, let me explain to you what future impacts are. Future impacts come from the consequence of the outcome you're going to have. Say it one more time.
Future impacts come from the consequence you're going to have.
Yeah. Future impacts come from the consequence of the outcome you're going to have. So for example, this guy's outcome in his job in sales was that he was going to play golf, right? Like that was going to be the outcome. It is part of the job description in the type of sales he wanted to do. But the consequence of him playing golf, this is the impact, is he's going to create connection with clients to really get to know them, to be able to continue to build stronger business relationships with them. How does that sound versus I want to play golf versus I want to create stronger relationships with our customers through natural interactions? This is inspiring. This is an outcome. I'll give you another one. If you want to be a founder or CEO, you might say, well, future impact I'm going to have is I'm going to make a lot of money. Oh, okay. Well, that's not very inspiring, but good for you. That's the outcome. The consequence of someone having a lot of money is I want to be able to, go ahead. No, I was going to say that's they might, well, that is possible, but in this scenario, the outcome might be I'm going to have a lot of money, but the consequence is, and the thing I'm going to write down is the impact I'm going to have is I would like to reinvest that into my community, into real estate developments in part of a neighborhood I grew up in. Okay? It's a good question. So he asked if someone once told him, like, you don't have to say, I want money in an interview setting. I would say you need to know what your comp requirements are. So do your research on, like, what the range is for the job that you're applying for. And they're going to ask you, what are your comp requirements for this job? I encourage you to give a range. And they ask you why you want this job, that's where you start to inspire the buy-in. So I heard a lot of you say you want mentorship out of a job. Okay, an outcome of you getting a job might be that you're going to get mentored, right? But the consequence of you getting mentored is that you can learn and grow and develop as a professional so that you can then one day lead your own team and help others. That's so much more inspiring than, well, I just want to be mentored. I want this, I want a big paycheck, I want this. So this is what you're really going to do in your future impact section is really inspire that buy-in. Clear? Okay. So, because remember this, people are not going to necessarily remember what you say, but they're going to remember how you make them feel. And so if you can get them excited, by the way, an interviewer, if they hear what you're saying, they're going to go, yeah, I want to help you do that. I want to help you reinvest in a team. I want to make sure you get taught all that you need to know versus Oh, this person wants this because they just like want to like suck our mentorship out of it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's an opportunity to really elaborate in your storytelling. So let's recap really quickly. You get clear on what you want. You validate why it is that you want that. What in your past authorizes you to want it. And by the way, when I say that, I have worked with a lot of professionals. I've worked with professionals that literally come out of PwC and Deloitte, and they have 10 to 15 years experience. And they're like saying what it is they want, telling me why they want it, and then they're like, but the recruiter or somebody might say, I don't have this and this and this. They immediately are invalidating themselves by what they think someone else is going to think of them. Let's just drop that. That's not helpful. You've got to stay clear on your story in order to create that future that you want. And then last, inspire the buy-in. Why do you want it? When people are inspired, they want to help you get it. Oh yeah, I want to hire this person. They're going to come in. They're going to create connection, create relationships. We're going to bring this person in. Okay. Next part. Step 4 and 5. Address the capability gap. If I told you I wanted to go be a pilot, okay, go be a pilot. I could tell you why I'm valid in wanting that. I could tell you how inspiring it is and why I want to do that. But I have a big gaping issue. I don't have the capability to do that. I have to go get my certification in order to fly, in order to be a pilot. The other day I had a conversation with Coach, and he said something that really stung. I was telling him all these things that I wanted. And he said, you know, you have the want of a 17-year-old. And I was like, what? I'm 31. He said, you want like a teenage girl. And I was like, oh my goodness. And what he meant by that was I wasn't taking responsibility for my wants. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. He's like, well, then make it happen. Address the capability gap. And I was like, oh, I have that in my presentation. He's like, well, you need to do that. What I mean by that is there might be a job that you want. Let's go back to that product manager job, right? There's a lot of lingo when you're interviewing for a product manager, or there's a lot of lingo when you're interviewing for a financial analyst position. What are some other, electrical engineer? Okay, electrical engineer interviewing. Do you know what area you want to work in?
Somewhere in accounting or finance, basically finance area.
Okay, great. And what do we have else? Marketing and therapy. Okay. Literally, if you go into YouTube and type how to be successful in a marketing interview or how to be successful in a counseling interview, there are so many different videos that talk about industry standard lingo that you might not know yet because you haven't ever had a job in that space. Maybe you've never had a job in that space. Address the capability gap. Know how to talk about it. By the way, marketing. Have you ever used MailChimp before? Have you ever used a marketing automation platform? Google them. Right? Google them. And by the way, like, we're millennials and Gen Zers here. We can learn any type of technology in like 5.5 minutes. Get a free demo, go on, and teach yourself how to use it, and then like send out a marketing automation cadence to your family. Now you have experience with this marketing automation platform. You got to do the work to address the capability gap. First, you need to know it exists, right? So if this is what I know what I now want, now how am I going to get it? I have to take responsibility for your wants. Then choose your direction wisely. So I'm going to use marketing as an example. I know the space well. So let's say you're like, I want to be chief marketing officer at Coca-Cola. I have no idea what industry you want to work in, but that's just the first example. Let's just say that's what it is you want to do. Okay. Well, you could address the capability gap all day, but there's also like maybe needing a few years experience and this and that. But you could still choose your direction wisely. In other words, if that is your goal, if you're like, one day I am going to be CMO at Coca-Cola, like that is what I'm going to do, choose your direction wisely. And this means not only choosing the direction of, okay, well, I'm going to start as a marketing coordinator, right? And then I'm going to take a route into a more data-driven marketing approach, or I'm going to go into a lead gen approach. So these are different kind of branches that are within marketing. And how do I know that? Well, like, I know that from experience, but you could know that too. We just have to do a little research. And what I mean by that is, if you know you want to be CMO, what are all the different kind of mid-level marketing jobs? What are all the entry-level marketing jobs? Kind of what do they entail? Are you seeing some patterns and a path that you could create for yourself that aligns with what you want? And choose your direction wisely. So in other words, if you want to be CMO of Coca-Cola, I probably would not recommend you go be in marketing at a school. Probably recommend that you go be in marketing in some kind of consumer goods. Maybe some kind of beverage. Maybe you don't get a job as a marketing coordinator at Coca-Cola where you first initially start out, but maybe you get a job as a marketing analyst at Hint. Okay, I'm going in the, you guys see what I'm doing here? I'm in the realm of this, but I could never know I could never know which realm, or if I was going in the wrong direction, or if I was choosing my direction wisely, if I don't know what I want. And what Brenda was saying is she's 150,000% right. What you want can change. And that's okay. Because remember step 2. What our wants are actually only because of our past experiences. What you want today is because of what happened the last X amount of years. So what you want today might be different in 3 or 4 years, but if we always honor what it is that we want, we're going in a direction that's wise. Okay. So, talked a little bit about this. I am going to take a second to, I need to update this, but you can put your SeekerPitch profile on the top of your resume. You can put it in the featured section of your LinkedIn. Does everyone here have a LinkedIn? Okay, great. I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly. Oh. You know what? We're a small enough group. I'm just going to do it here because otherwise I'm going to log in and all that stuff. So, let me just show you this. All right, so start a post, create a post, Command V. You could be like, check out a little bit more about me. You know, here's my pitch profile, and I'm having some internet connection issues, but this will typically show your picture and whatnot. You'll post it, and then feature on top of profile, right there. See that? And that will show up on the top of your profile, and someone's going to go, what's that? Other website sections, and I want to take a second to show you some job-seeking websites. Now, why am I showing you that? You thought SeekerPitch was one. We are doing a pivot change. We are doing some testing. We're doing some A/B testing, and we are creating a different type of job board. Typically, in the past, we've had to have companies come and post their jobs directly on our site. I'm not seeing as many jobs as I'd like to see on there, so we are going to test aggregating jobs at women-focused organizations. So companies whose customer is 51% women. So this might be at a femtech company or prenatal vitamin or a fashion company or I don't know, I could keep going, an energy bar company, whatever. But that's what we're going to be, that type of job board, but there's a few other types of job boards that I think are important for you guys to know about that a lot of people didn't know existed. I'm going to tell you what those are. So one is called Built-In. Another one is called ATA. This is my favorite one. This is what, okay. These are great for, Built-in has a lot of, they call it like tech jobs, so does ATA. Of course, there's LinkedIn and whatnot, but these are really my favorite ones. With Built-in, you've got sales, you've got finance, you've got marketing, ATA. They've got a different way they capture what kind of jobs to show you. But these are two of my favorite sites that a lot of people don't know about, I notice. And it's really great for, like, there's a lot of finance. There's finance, and I know there's marketing as well. Marketing's there. Different type of engineer. But finance, you've got finance jobs here all day long. Same thing about ATA. Okay. And then SeekerPitch will be testing that feature that I told you about job aggregating jobs at women-focused companies, which men can work there too. A lot of men do. A lot of men are the CEOs of those companies. So, anyways, oh, hold on. Let's go back to this. I wanted to leave some time at the end to chat about whatever it is you guys want to chat about and answer any questions you have. Please, floor is open. Floor is yours.
Here, actually, share my camera, so it's on the video.
I feel like knowing what you want is kind of hard. Well, I said it in my own point of view because sometimes I feel like doing something, but at the same time, I don't feel confident enough to have that capability or filling the capability gap that you were talking about.
Yeah. So, but can we break that down a little bit? Like, what are some of the things that you wrote down that you want?
Like, I like fashion, hairstyles, like work with people hair, and I want to work in a environment where it's flexible but then it's more than just that. I'm interested in a lot of things, honestly. And it's hard to break it down like you're telling me to do so, because I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah. So, have you guys ever gone to the gym? Have you ever lifted weights? You know, try to remember the first time you went in and you lifted a weight and you're like, did you ever think like this is heavy and this is hard? And then maybe you went back a second time and you did it again. And then you kept up with it, and then 2 months later, whatever exercise, by the second or third month, do you think it's as hard as it was on day one? No. What I'm challenging you to do is I'm challenging you to shift your mindset. And that right now might be the capability gap that you need to address. It's one that I had to address a few weeks ago with my coach. Said you need to start taking responsibility for your wants. And so I'm saying the same thing to you here, which is if you keep doing that circle every few weeks and get really clear on that. By the way, something else is maybe do a little research on the past, because sometimes we don't also know what we want because we don't even know it exists. I was talking to somebody the other day. She's awesome. And she has spent the last, she's getting her MBA at St. Thomas. She spent the last 10 years kind of doing like public speaking, talk shows. She was on like American Idol, songwriter. She also had a job kind of in the marketing department at, a big co-working space that's all over the country. WeWork, thank you. And so she said the same thing to me. She's like, I don't know what I want to do. And when you don't know what you want to do, you have to kind of just boil it down to like, what do you like to do? And lucky for her, like I was sitting there, and it turns out she's a songwriter. Like she loves to write. She also has some experience in marketing. She loves kind of marketing and public speaking, and she's like, I really like to write. And I was like, well, have you ever thought about copywriting? Right? What jobs write? Copywriting, journalist, marketers, and they writing marketing campaigns. So we kind of broke it down, and then I said, now, given all those 3 categories, what industry do you want to be in? Right? You said you like hair. By the way, I never once heard you say you like anything about finance.
It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And that's okay. But like, there's got to be like, you like talking to people, and you like fashion is what I just heard you say. So like, for me, like hearing that, I mean, and I'd like to, we're going to keep going with questions here in a second, but like, I'm spitballing. But it's like talking to people is sales, right? And then there's a lot of fashion and hair companies and hair product companies that are looking to hire salespeople. And I don't know what else is in your circle, but it's like, go on LinkedIn, type in, you know, or go and like Google some of these companies, or look at companies that are like top hair companies, right? Or top fashion companies, or fastest growing fashion startups, right? Like there's a new company called Newly where they like rent clothes out to people, and I just signed up, and I think that's so cool. And like, I can guarantee you they're probably looking for salespeople, you know, and it's internal and corporate. I'm just making things up, but my point is you got to start searching for what is even out there, but you have to honor what it is you want, and it takes practice. But that's you taking responsibility for what you want, and what I see a lot of people default to is like what you can get. And I can guarantee you one thing: if what you're doing does not align with what you enjoy, I can guarantee you burn out. I can guarantee it might take a few years, but you're gonna wake up one day and go, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore because I'm burnt out. Or you might still do it and just be miserable.
Well, for me,
You get the mic.
yeah, for me, I was just writing what like things that I want to do, and I realized that it don't have anything to do with my major, which is like you said, is realistic, or it's like common. And I noticed that I want to help people. I like encouraging people and motivating people to do things. I don't have any idea if I can make money off of that, but
Yeah, and that's just feeling like, what kind of things do you like to help people do? Like, what are some of the things you wrote down?
well, I wrote down spend time with family, mentorship, be my own boss, travel, flexible hours, help others, social media platforms, dance, and preaching.
Social media platforms. You like to be on. You like social media platforms,
Yeah.
and you like dancing. Okay, and you like to help others.
Yes.
So there's a ton. Like in other words, like what type of companies help people?
I don't know.
Well, I can think of a few. So there's nonprofit organizations. There's ed tech companies. There's a ton of education tech companies out there that are bringing different types of education to parts of the world that don't exist. There's people. Well, let's just stick to those I could keep going. But let's just stick to nonprofit or ed tech. And for the sake of simplicity, let's stick to nonprofit. Nonprofit organizations, charities, hire people, and they pay them salaries. And what you're talking about, whether it's social media marketing. And just today, I saw somebody hiring someone who is great at social media marketing, who loves TikTok, who loves Instagram. And they're at an interior design company. She's helping bring beautiful spaces to people. So it depends on like what type of help drives you, right? Like thinking back to hair, I know there's a company that like teaches dads how to do hair, right? There's also another woman who started a company, I can't remember the name of it, but she was teaching like people who adopted African Americans how to do African American hair. And she started a whole organization around that. That's a huge help. And I don't know how big her company is now, but like big enough, she's hiring social media marketers.
Yeah, I noticed that I like helping people like young students that don't know what they want in life or don't have the resources to do something, to go to college or to do other things in life, or they limit themselves because their parents don't have the resources or the knowledge.
Yeah.
So like I like helping people out and bring resources in that area.
Yeah, so there's like absolutely an opportunity there for you to find nonprofit organizations that outreach to those types of communities and see what job openings they have and then start to kind of figure it out what's out there.
Yeah.
What else? I got time for 2 more questions. And if your heart is like beating really fast and you're like, I don't know, that means you should ask a question. That's like your thought. Do you have a question? No?
About the sign-in, for ideal work location and current location, what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, good question. So like your ideal work location might be San Francisco, but you're currently working in Houston. So this just tells somebody like, I'm in Houston, but I want to be in San Francisco.
I'm just probably gonna. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Is this thing working? I don't really.
The mic hears it. The camera hears it. So yes.
So like how you were saying earlier about looking through like the clear lens and everything through it, like the past experience, how do you differentiate that with parents and family who like kind of like push you towards, I guess, their goals?
Yeah.
How do you separate yourself to like
Yeah.
my own goal?
Yeah. The boundaries. I could give you. I actually have an entire folder saved on my Instagram of like quotes about psychologists and stuff about boundaries. And I'm actually gonna, if the post is still here, I'll read this about to you. I have a child, and I have a nanny who I had a nanny who just graduated college, and she and I would talk about that conversation a lot. She's still living at home and whatnot. So I'll read this. I'll read this quote. It's from Sarah Foster, and someone's like, best advice you can give a girl in her early 20s. Right? Close? Okay. Start early having boundaries with who you give your energy to. Learn early to not waste your energy in toxic places. If a relationship isn't serving you, walk away from it. You are creating habits in your early 20s, so start making them healthy. Know your worth. In other words, like, you are graduating, you are an adult, you can legally do whatever it is you want. And in this case, for my friend, who was my former nanny, she was still somewhat financially depending on her parents. And I asked her, I said, well, what's the cost of that? Right? And the cost of that for her was a very like enmeshment. It's called the psychological term for it's called enmeshment. I'm not a psychologist at all. I'm not giving you any clinical advice, but it's called enmeshment. And so what happens is parents will give you like their feelings and put their burdens on you and like enmeshment, connect them to you. And that is simply setting a boundary of, hey, this is what I'm choosing to do. I would love your support and love your encouragement. And if you're not able to give that, every time you set a boundary, you always give a consequence. Mm-hmm. Then let's not engage in these types of conversations about my future. What are they going to say? Get out of my house, leave, and never want to talk to you again? And some parents do, but let me ask you at the end of the day is, you want to do that? Or do you want to spend the one life you have doing something that you don't want to do for the next 60 to 80, 90 years?
I'll take my chance on leaving.
Yeah, and by the way, that's setting those boundaries are healthy, and I encourage you to do them with yourself too. So like when you have a commitment to yourself, like bringing this back to SeekerPitch, is like you have a commitment to what it is that you want, is telling your narrative that way and honoring what it is you want. In other words, do not violate your own boundaries. So there are going to be times, and the easiest one in the career is when someone's offering you, let's go back to the guy's example at the very beginning. Someone was offering him a very big salary at a very big company. But this guy what he truly wanted was to be a software engineer. And he chose not to violate his own boundaries. He chose to honor what it is that he wanted. And he set himself up for success because he took responsibility for what he wanted, addressed the capability gap by taking some online courses outside of school hours, and told a story eloquently enough to land himself an internship when he had no papered experience. It was paid. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.